Hello everyone, my name is Professor Valdez Gant, and if you're watching this video, then you are probably watching it because you're enrolled in one of my Math 1324 Business Math and Math for Social Sciences course. So I'm recording this video in order to give you some instruction on how the course is run, some of the things that you need to look out for, and some of the things that will be available to you. Put that another way, this is basically your orientation for this course. So the first thing that I want to talk about today is just going over how to navigate through Blackboard to get to all the important things in this course that you need to see. The second thing that I want to talk about is how to get inside of My Math Lab, what you need to access in order to get registered into it, what it is that you'll need, as well as some tips on how to effectively use My Math Lab so that you're actually learning the material while you're kind of going through and getting the assignments done. The last thing that I want to cover is the requirement for proctorio on our exams. And so I actually may cover that while I am talking about the Blackboard and or My Math Lab portion of this orientation. But just know that that is a topic that I am going to talk about. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to put this course in student view so that way it'll look the way that you see it. Please note that I am recording this particular video not only for the fall 2020 semester that I'm in, but for subsequent semesters after that may actually use this course, because more than likely it will be the same kind of setup. The dates will just be different. So the first thing you want to make sure that you do each and every time you log into the course is to check your announcements. Okay, there will be at least one announcement coming out to you every week, and that announcement will be letting you know what's actually quote unquote due for that week. Okay. Now in this course, I want to go ahead and say this up front. The only assignments that really have a hard due date in this course will be your first attempt on quizzes and also your midterm and final exams. Okay. And I say the first attempt on quizzes because the date in which you complete your first attempt on quizzes is also going to be my way of recording attendance for you in the course as well. And so you'll see more about that in the ICR as well as the announcements. Okay. All right. So of course, if you look in the announcements here, you will see. Oh, I also forgot to mention that whenever you respond to the discussion boards, okay, because the discussion boards also have a due date on them as well. So you want to make sure that you get those done by the dates prescribed as well. All right, so now that I have all that covered, in the announcements here, this very first one you'll see is just the basic information for the course. You do not need a physical textbook for this course, but I have a picture of it here because you may need to see a picture of the corresponding textbook that goes along with what's called My Math Lab standalone access code. And the access code is the thing that you need. You don't need a physical textbook because the access code also gives you access to the online electronic textbook as well. But again, for some people, if they want to actually get the physical textbook along with the access code, you can get it as a bundle, and that's fine. I will tell you that if you go to the TCC bookstore, you're only going to see the option for the standalone access code. And I'm actually going to show you that in this particular video where it is. So as far as calculators, you're allowed to use a graphing calculator, and you'll probably need that on some of the exams or whatnot. I also have here a summary of the due dates. I do have a separate course calendar, and of course you'll be getting announcements and whatnot letting you know, hey, to stay on pace, what do you need to get done each week. but I also like to provide a quick overview of all the assignments that you need to do in the course in the announcement area, so that if you don't have a lot of time to dig through and do a bunch of clicks, you can just kind of go to this one place and whatever you need to know, it'll be listed there. Okay. Please note that if I make any changes to any dates in the course throughout the time that we are together, those changes will be made here. Okay. They won't necessarily be made in the syllabus or the ICR, because in those documents, I tell you to refer to this particular announcement, because I like to have one central place to change things. And I think this is the simplest way to do it. So here you can kind of see that you got your quizzes, when the dates for your discussion boards, of course, your midterm exam, final exam, all other days like last day to drop, all that stuff is here. Okay. Again, these dates will be for the fall 2020 semester, but of course, if you're taking this course in the subsequent semester, these dates may be different. The important thing is to know that that information is here. Now, for the discussion board assignments, I also have an announcement here that kind of describes what those discussion board assignments are all about and the options that you have. Okay. And so I want to go over this because I know some students kind of get confused, and it's funny to me that students get confused on this because I'm actually giving you options on what to do. So, of course, I'm just laying the ground rules here, but the main thing is these 3 bullet points down here. So if we look at the first bullet point, the first bullet point is basically saying that you could post 2 distinct questions, and these could be homework or practice questions from your quizzes and or homework assignments in MML. You can post 2 questions that you have answered, as well as respond to at least 2 questions that your classmates have put down. So let me explain that in detail so you understand what's going on. So what you can do is, let's say you have a question in My Math Lab that you've worked on, homework question, and you're like, hey, I have difficulty with this. I don't know how to solve it. Okay. So in that instance, what you can do is you can post what that question is, and specifically if you have a particular part of that question that you're kind of confused on, you can post all of that in the discussion board area. I will say, if you're going to do this option, please make sure that you send screenshots of the actual question. Okay. Do not try to copy and paste directly from My Math Lab because it's not going to show up. So you need to be able to do a screenshot and upload that picture with your post. If you have any written work that you've done, it will be helpful for you to post that as well, so that others can kind of understand what you have done, and they may be able to help you and point out where you're going wrong. Okay. So if you're going to do this option 1, you can post 2 questions that you need answers to because you need help on them. You can do that. But what you also have to do is turn around and answer 2 people's questions. So you're posting at least 2 to say, hey, I need help. But in turn, what you're going to do is look at what other people have posted, and you're going to try to answer those questions as well. So if you use this option 1, then that means that you're posting to get help, but you're also returning the favor by helping someone else. Okay. So that is option 1. Option 2, and of course, I think this is the easiest option, is that you take 2 problems that you've worked on either in your My Math Lab homework or exam, and you just say, hey, this is a problem I was working on. I figured it out. I know how to do it. I want to show people. Okay. And so what you'll do there is take a screenshot of that question as it appears in My Math Lab. Also include your written work with that. Compile that all into one electronic document, preferably a PDF file, but also you could do it in a Word document. If you do it as JPEGs, it's kind of hard to grade. Okay, so that's why I prefer either PDF or Microsoft Word, because everything will be in one place and we don't have to click on several files to be able to see everything that it is that you're trying to do. So if you can just post at least 2 of those questions, just post them on the discussion board and let that be that. Some people like to do it to where they have one post with one question, another post with the other question, and that's totally fine. You can do both questions all in one document, or you can separate posts and do them that way. Doesn't matter to me, as long as there is a record of you actually working out 2 questions with an answer. And what I mean by an answer is not just here's a problem, here's the answer. I actually need to see written work that shows, hey, this is my thought process on how I got to the answer as well. And that will be something that is required in order for you to get full credit. Okay. So to review, option 1 is going to be you post 2 questions to get help, and you answer questions from other people that need help as well. And you have to do have to answer at least 2 of those posts from 2 different people. Okay. The second option is just to take a homework or quiz question that you've worked on, that you figured out, take 2 of them, post it. Okay. The third option is you can make a video of you working out one problem. Okay. So of course it's going to take you a little bit longer to actually get the video up and running, processed and whatnot. So for that reason, I'm asking you only to work out one problem instead of doing 2, if you were going to post it like in option 2. So those are the 3 options that you have. It does not matter to me which option you do, as long as when I look to go grade what you've done for the discussion board, I see that at least one of these 3 criteria are satisfied. Okay. Now, in my opinion, the easiest option to do is option 2, because you're going to have to do the work anyway. Okay. Of course, the one I like the most is option 1. But again, I think the one that is most interactive, and for those of you that need that peer-to-peer interaction to learn, I think option 1 will be good for you. So again, totally up to you. Okay. So that is in the announcements. And of course, these are the dates and the point values for when this stuff is due. Okay. Now, this post here, did you receive my email? I may be sending messages to you and you may not be getting them. So this is an alert to you now to go check your junk mail to see, hey, have I sent anything to you? If I'm in your junk mail, get me out. Okay. At least for the time that we're together in this course. Okay. And you also may want to occasionally check your junk mail just to make sure that you haven't received any messages from me or any of your other classes that may have inadvertently gone there. Okay. Now, as far as registering for My Math Lab, and that's going to be the third-party site that we use to get the homework done, quizzes done, tests done in this course. Okay. So all of that is here. This link here will let you know how to actually get registered. Because of the fact that this course is in Blackboard and it's synced with My Math Lab, there is no need for you to know the course ID for the course. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why you may not see it printed anywhere, because if you follow these directions and you're in the course, it just automatically brings you to it. If you are having issues on that, please let me know. Okay. And for those of you in future semesters, if Pearson sort of changes their system to where even in the syncing process, with you being in a Blackboard course and you still need the course ID, you'll see the course ID posted in this announcement called My Math Lab Login Instructions. Okay. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. All right. So as far as announcements go, when you're at the beginning of this course, this is probably going to be the ones that you see first. There will probably be another announcement. And of course, since this is before the start of the actual course that I'm running for fall 2020, you won't see it yet, but it'll be one just basically outlining, hey, for this particular week, this is what you need to get accomplished to stay on pace. So now that we've talked about that, let's go ahead and move on to the instructor contact info. And so here you see my email, you see my phone number here. I do not have any set office hours, but you can schedule them with me upon request if needed. If we need to meet, more than likely we will meet in Blackboard Collaborate. I also have the ability to do Zoom as well. So if you prefer Zoom, I just need to know that, and I can send you that information when needed. The main thing, again, is just to know that if you need help, I am available. You just need to reach out to me, okay? All right, now at the end of the semester, you'll be doing a course evaluation to express your views on how the course went. And so this is the link that you would go to for that. Now, the video that you're watching right now is actually housed in the Start Here folder. And one of the things that you need to do right after you check out, these announcements and this contact info here is go ahead and go to the Start Here folder. I'm going to go ahead and go there now. So here is the ICR, aka the syllabus for our course. And so you can kind of read over that and go through all the basics. Probably the main thing that you are concerned with is how you're going to be graded. And so all that information is in there, okay? Of course, this is the video that you're watching right now. So if you need to watch it again for any reason, this is where you would need to go. I also would appreciate it if you go ahead and fill out this student profile survey. And what this is, it gives me information about you. Let's say if I notice that assignment is missing or something's going on with you and I need to reach out to you to kind of see what's going on or what's wrong, I'll have some information so that I'm able to do that. So of course I'll go ahead and click on it now. It's kind of like a Survey Monkey thing. You can, like for your address, the only thing that's really required is your name and email address. Everything else, you don't have to fill out if you don't want to. And of course you just see that there are questions here. And again, what I'm trying to do is get an idea of basic information about you so I can get in contact with you, but also kind of where you are, okay? So these questions like, what was the last math class you had? How long it's been since you've taken a math class? I kind of like to know who I'm working with, what situation you're in, because that allows me to have some context in how I can deal with you if you need help, okay? All right, so with that being said, of course, there is a course overview, and this is just letting you know that the two main things we're going to be using to get where your assignments are going to be is in Blackboard and My Math Lab. So that's really the main thing this says here, okay? All right, so from that point, we can go ahead for course materials. I told you that I was going to show you if you went to the TCC bookstore, what would be available. And of course, that's working now. And I guess for whatever reason, it's not showing up. I guess this is maybe because I'm in student view. So what I'm going to do is try to rework this and get out of student view for just a second so that it'll work. Okay, so I currently got out of the student view, and of course it popped up here. So this is going to be the My Math Lab standalone access code. And of course, what will be is an access card, and you could go to the in-store to pick it up. I would recommend that you actually call the TCC bookstore and try to order it that way, and try to have it delivered to you if you can't physically come on campus for whatever reason, okay? Of course, there are other third-party options that you can use, but, of course, if you do that, make sure that you get it via this ISBN number here, and make sure that the access card is brand new, because you cannot use an access code that's already been used by someone else. Okay, so I just want to make sure that that is understood before you actually make the purchase. Another thing I will say is that in the registration process, you're going to have the option to have what's called a financial aid access, or a temporary access, and it basically gives you free access to all the MyMathLab things in this course for 14 days. And I would highly recommend, regardless of whether you're going to eventually get the code or not. Well, I guess you have to get the code because you're going to be in the course. But if you plan on staying in the course or not, I would do that temporary access so that you can kind of see what's going on in the course. Is this something that you think that you're ready for at this point? Or, of course, if you don't have the money at the time, that's fine. You got 2 weeks to kind of figure out a way to get it together. So I think it's a safe option to just go ahead and do the temporary or financial aid access to begin with. And then once that 14-day period ends, you'll know, because the system will prompt you to actually put in a valid purchased access code. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move back. All right, so let's just go here. You'll see that this window pops up, and we can just go back here to the Start Here folder for now. All right, so we went over the Start Here folder, went over course materials. If you come here, this is specifically where the district syllabus is for this course. Don't necessarily need to look at that. We just have to put it there. Of course, the actual syllabus that you need to know, instructional course requirements, or ICR, that was also posted here as well. That is what you really need to look at as far as how this course is going to be graded. And of course, you have your course calendar here and the MyMathLab registration instructions. And so you also have a link to a video that can kind of take you through the process as well. The main thing here is just to know that with MyMathLab, especially for those of you that are familiar with it, some of you may think you need an access code, sorry, not an access code, but a course ID. And you don't necessarily need that, since this course is synced up, okay, with Pearson. If you find that you do need that, again, of course, I will post that in the announcements area, like I mentioned earlier. All right, so if you want to access like all of your MyMathLab assignments just immediately in one spot, the place to go to here is MyMathLab, okay? And actually, I'm going to put this back in student view so you'll see it the way that you will in this course. So this is what you'll see when it pops up here. Of course, the first thing I think you want to do is to do a browser check, especially if you haven't used Pearson products before, just to make sure everything's working. I know depending upon what browser you use, your settings may not be set up right, and you're going to have to kind of work with that. I know that Chrome or Firefox works the best. If I would say try Chrome first. If it's not working properly with Chrome, then more likely Firefox will work. But it's just a matter of going through and actually getting your browser settings set up correctly. Okay, and there are some troubleshooting that you can actually do. Of course, you can run diagnostics here. There are some other help that you can go through once you get into this whole registration process that will help you out. When you are initially registering in this course, your instructions are basically going to tell you to click on anything here, and no matter what you click on, is going to basically ask, hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to do temporary access, or do you want to go ahead and put in your purchase access code and kind of move on from there? Okay. If you want to go to the assignments, of course, if you just want to see the list of the assignments itself, you can go here. If you kind of want to see everything, which is what I would recommend that you do, you can go here. And so you'll kind of see why I'm saying that. Of course, you won't see all this business here because this is sort of like my view of it. But let me see if I can go back and just do it here. See if it'll show up like that. Yeah, so this is what you'll see as a student. But if you access it this way, of course, you're not going to see every single thing that I see here. Like the things that you see here, you won't see. But you have options like being able to see your grades without having to go click into a separate window. This is showing that it's not available, but it will be. The multimedia library, in addition to having the e-textbook, is going to have other things as well, like videos and whatnot. If you look here, if I go to show all, you'll see that, and of course, this is in my view of it. I'll go ahead and click on the assignment so you can kind of see the way it's going to look. So if you look at it this way, you see how you got homework assignments that are basically lecture videos and examples. So that would be one way that you will be able to learn the material. I also have supplemental material in this course that you can watch as well, because I have some other videos on many of these topics as well. You can just kind of go in between the two. So here you see these prerequisite flags here. Is basically saying, hey, you need to make sure that you do this Proctorio setup here before any of these assignments here will be released. Because basically we want to force you to kind of get this set up now versus waiting until later. Okay. Other than that, I am going to go into one of these assignments so that I could talk about, let you just kind of see what it looks like here. So here you have all the links to, let's say, textbook here, videos. So again, that's where you can learn information from. I'll click out of that. Let's say if you want to go to a homework assignment. And again, this is just showing me in my instructor view here. But let's say we go to question number 6, okay? And I'm going to pull that in. So let's say you're at this question here and you're looking at it and you're like, hey, I don't know what to do. Okay. Now, of course, you should have some idea if you've already watched the videos or read the textbook for this particular section before you got started. But let's say you need a reminder here. You have all these help options available to you. So you have help me solve this and view an example. What help me solve this is exactly what it says. It will help you do this particular problem, but the caveat for that is that you're going to have to do another problem that's similar to it. Okay, so like for instance, if I go ahead and click on this, you'll see that this red X here means that it's marked it wrong for you, and it's going to try to ask you to go through this whole process, and it's interactive. So I'm just going to type in a number. I don't really care if I'm right or wrong here. But if you do it a couple times, it'll give you what the right number is, and you just keep moving on, and eventually, you can get through the problem. Okay. So, of course, once you get through clicking through all of that, once I close, you're going to see that what I currently have, and you can see that the problem changed. Okay. So you may not have been able to see that the parabola here shifted, but it did. So your problem just changed, okay? And so that's what happens whenever you do help me solve this. View an example is like a cousin of help me solve this, but what it does is it gives you a problem that's similar to the one that you're actually looking at. So it's not exactly the same. And so in this instance, it's a static problem. So all you got to do is just kind of click through it, kind of read it, see what it's about. And here you see that your problem didn't change. And I know for that reason, personally, I like view an example because I can still stay on the same problem that I'm on, but yet get an example of what I need to see if I don't know what to do. Okay. Now, one thing I will say is that most people, when they see these two help aid options, they tend to abuse it rather than to use it properly. Okay. Now, how do you know if you are abusing these help aids? If you're not watching any videos, if you're not reading the textbook, if you're not doing anything to prepare yourself to learn the material before you start doing homework, you just jump in, do the homework, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Let me see what view and example says. And you read through all what view and example says, and you're like, hey, they said I was supposed to have a 2 here. So for this problem, that means I have a 3. For this, for the example problem, they had a -7 there. So this means I'm going to have a -1 here. If you're doing that to get through all of your problems, you are abusing the My Math Lab help features. Okay. My suggestion to you is that you use the view and example, and I would just do maybe the first couple of clicks just to read what it says, just to kind of get an idea on how to start the problem. Okay. So once you do that, then I would close and I would try to do the problem on my own with understanding those first few steps. And of course, the goal is, yeah, you're probably going to get the problem wrong, but that's okay. You want to make mistakes, and the faster you make mistakes, the faster you stop making them. So just think in your mind, hey, I need to fail faster so that I can stop failing by the time the exam rolls around. Okay. So the goal is to fail faster, because the faster you start failing, the faster you stop. Okay. So that, to me, that is the correct way to use these help aids. Of course, you also have the textbook available to you. If you open up this textbook in this homework problem, it is going to confine you to section 2.1. Okay. So just know that if you do that, that is what's going to happen. Of course, you have a basic calculator here. And of course, if there is a question that you just can't seem to figure out, no matter what help age you use, a good way to let me know is just to click on this Ask My Instructor. And when you do this option, it'll send an email directly to me with a link to your problem. What I need to know from you is, what specifically do you need help on in the problem? Okay. Sending me emails like, hey, I don't know how to do this problem. Help me. Basically, what you're asking me to do is to do it for you. I need to know that you've actually tried the problem, gone in, and at least attempted something. Okay. So if you've done that, then of course, what I would know is, all right, what I'll be looking for rather is a specific question. You'll say, hey, at this step or at that step, they did this certain thing. Why did they do that? Or how did they come up with that? So that's the kind of questions that I'm looking for if you do the Ask My Instructor. Okay. Now, if you're just really, really clueless and you're like, hey, I tried and I couldn't even start, then just let me know that too. Okay. But again, at least try something so that way I kind of know how to help you. All right. So with that being said, I will go ahead and get out of here. Once you have worked on problems, if you can go here to my grades, you'll see that everything that you do is recorded here. Okay. Another thing that you'll have the option to go to, and it's not showing now, but I'm going to release it, is to go to the study plan. And so this is if you want to get more practice, but you don't want to necessarily mess around with your homework assignment grade. So you can click on the study plan here, and it will give you access to more problems. And I'll just go ahead and click on it so you can see what it looks like. So I know some people like to do the practice and the quiz me here. I would recommend that you go to all chapters and come here and just break it down by section. Now, part of the reason I tell you to do this is that probably the best time to get extra practice in is after you've already taken a quiz in the course. And of course, in this particular course, we have quizzes after each chapter is done. And once you're done taking the quiz, whatever problems you got wrong, it is going to mark those. So for instance, you see where these pins are, is basically saying, hey, you need to work on some problems here. So that's why this says show recommended study. And so you see right now, it's just saying I need to work on everything here. Okay. The homework's tied to it too, but by the time you take an actual quiz, you'll have a good idea of what it is that you really know and what you don't. Anything that you see the graduation hat on, the system is saying, yeah, you did good on those problems. Okay. All right. So the multimedia library, something else that'll be available to you. You'll see here that you have PowerPoints, multimedia, textbook, videos. So this is like the media kernel for this particular, I guess, application of software. Okay. All right. So for the most part, that is what the My Math Lab stuff is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. So other than that, this area here is just Netiquette, just basic stuff I have to state on how to interact with each other when you're online. And this is mainly for the discussion board area. The main thing I want to illuminate here is whenever you email me or let's say you text message me, the main thing that I need you to do is to state your name and what course you're in and the section. Okay, I'm saying that because I'm running multiple courses online, and if you just email me or text me and say, hey, I need help on this, that, and the other, well, I don't know what course you're in and I don't know who you are. So I need to have that information so that I can respond to you faster, because I may not necessarily be at a computer at the time, and depending upon what your question is, I may be able to answer it on my phone, I may not. Okay, but this information, anytime you message me, will actually help a lot. So this link here is for the discussion board area. And of course, these first two assignments, if you're in week 1 of my course, you need to go ahead and get those done. And of course, these other discussion board assignments, they're due at the end of each unit. Okay, so once you're done with, let's say, chapter 2 or chapter 3 homework, then there's going to be a corresponding discussion board, which I call a virtual study group, because that's the place where you're going to be either posting your problems, posting a video, or asking for help and also helping others. Okay. Again, Blackboard Collaborate is where we would meet if we're going to have office hours. My Grades is where you would go if you want to check your grades and how they look in Canvas. Okay. Now, this link here, quiz and exam written work. This is an important area because this area tells you how to submit your written work for exams and quizzes. So I go through in detail here telling you how I want things to look. You also have the links to these particular assignments directly from my math lab here. And you also have the assignment place where you can upload your written work for. So all that information is here. You also have it for the midterm and final exams. Okay. And of course, here for the midterm, I have to create the link to have everything working proctorial here. So that's why you see the please edit. But here you have a place to upload your midterm exam written work here. I highly recommend that you do this practice exam. Okay. Highly, 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 highly recommended. You can do it as many times as you like. Just go in there, do it, get it done, so that you can be as successful as possible on your actual midterm exam. And of course, you'll have the same thing for the final exam. Okay. For those of you that may want some graphing paper to kind of do some of your graphing problems, you're free to print this off and use it as needed and turn in things as part of your written work. Now, the rest of these folders that you see here, like Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, these are just unit folders. So I've tried to kind of categorize everything in terms of units. So if you're like, hey, I just need to know what I need to do for Unit 1. Well, all right, you start off with lecture videos, and these are actual videos and or notes that I have recorded that go along with some of the things or topics that you cover in Unit 1. Okay. So next, of course, is a link to go to your homework. And this link just basically takes you to this My Math Lab page here. Okay. You also have a place where you can go and upload your written work for, let's say, whatever quiz you have. And of course, the only quiz that you have in Unit 1 is Chapter 2 quiz. So you can upload your written work here. So it's another location for that. And these are also links to the 3 discussion boards that you have to do for Unit 1. Okay. the 2 intro ones, as I like to call them, and of course the actual virtual study group. Okay. Now, of course, if we go to Unit 2, it's kind of the same profile. We got videos here that I've recorded that kind of go along with what you're studying in that unit. You also have a link to My Math Lab, of course, a link to the written work that you can upload here, and of course a link to the study group. And most of those unit folders are like that. Now, your midterm exam folder is important because this tells you how to get registered with Proctario. And of course, if you do the whole My Math Lab thing with getting Proctario set up, you're going to automatically do some of this anyway. But I have this information in here just in case that gets ignored. Of course, because you're using Proctario, there's going to be this whole setup process that you're going to have to do. And so that's why I tell you the things that you'll need on the day that you take the exam. I'll also go over some allowable resources that you may need. There's still some things I need to upload here. So that's why I have a check back later here. But if you're looking at this in subsequent semesters, then any extra stuff that I will have here that I will allow you to use on your exam, it will be here at that time. Okay. All right, and of course, the final exam info folder kind of looks the same way, same kind of information in it. Okay, so, and of course, I'll be updating those in the semester as needed, depending upon your semester and what the requirements are. All right, so with that, that is pretty much all there is to it as far as this course is concerned, as far as getting it started. The main thing, if we want to summarize, is that we want to get in, make sure that you're registered in My Math Lab, make sure that you do the first 2 discussion boards and start working on some of the assignments after, watching some videos, reading the textbook, whatever. So as a summary, that is what you want to do to get started. Everything else will kind of just come along, and you'll see it come together as you work throughout the course. You'll kind of get the hang of things from there. If there's any questions, or is there anything that you see that I have not addressed that you're concerned about, please feel free to email me or call me or text me to let me know. Okay. All right. So I know this video has been long, but I wanted to make sure that I covered everything that I needed to, that I could think of to kind of get you started and give you a full synopsis of what this course is about and how it's run. All right. Take care.